In a previous tutorial we were talking about transforming a layer, how we can rescale it and rotate it. And I mentioned the perspective tool and said I'd come back to that later. Well, later is now. What I want to do is I want to make this boat appear that it's coming out of the water a little more than it already is. I need to use a range tool, so I'm going to use the magic wand. I'm also going to modify my selection, and I'm going to use a perspective tool as well as a content aware fill. Now to begin with, let's go back through the layers. We've got the hue and saturation effect on top of the top boat that's it's toning down the richness to go with the ocean. And I've got the hue and saturation effect on top of the water that is also toning down the water and making it darker. Inside, if I turn off layer 1 copy, you'll see that the original boat is still there in layer 1. And the first thing I need to do is I need to get rid of the boat out of layer 1 and I need to put the ocean in its place. Now to do that, it's more simple than you might imagine. And turn on layer 1, I'm going to grab the magic wand, and I'm just going to click outside of the boat, which is going to select everything except the boat. And what I want to actually select is the boat, and that selection itself is called the inverse. It's quite naturally in the selection menu, so we go into the select menu and we choose inverse, and what will happen, that dotted box is going to move around the boat. It's just going to select the boat. At this point I can turn off layer 1 copy. I've just been using that as a guide, like a stencil I guess we could explain it as. And I'm going to go into layer 1, which is our original picture, and with the selection still selected I'm going to hit the delete key that will remove the boat out of that image. What I need to do, I need to fill that area in to look like the ocean. Years gone by we would have used a tool called the clone stamp, and we would have patiently been spending hours and hours painting each wave in, trying to get the colours right, trying to get the direction of the water going right. Fortunately Adobe they came up with a fix for us for that, called the content aware fill. If I was to apply the content aware fill right now, what it would do, it would leave a bit of an edge. So I need to expand this selection so that it goes out, I don't know, about an extra ½ centimetre from this zoom angle. So I'm going to estimate is around 50 pixels. Now to expand the selection, again I'm going to look in the select menu, and it's actually a modification of the selection. So select modify, and there it is, hide in there, expand. And Photoshop's quite a logical tool when you get used to it. And like I say, I'm going to guess it's at 50 pixels, possibly because I've already done this before, just to test it. And there's my selection expanded. Now you can see those circles there. That's clearly where I missed areas to erase in layer 1 copy when I was cutting the original boat out. We don't need to worry about that right now. All I need to do now is fill this area in to make it look like the ocean that it's sat inside. And all I need to do that is go into my edit menu and choose fill. With the settings come up, we can choose the foreground or background colour. Now these two red and the white colours down here, that's my foreground which is red and my background which is white. I can choose colour and actually set the colour I want to achieve, so I can choose a blue, or I can hover over the image and use the dropper to pick colours out of the image, but that's not what I want to do. I merely want to do a content aware fill. I'm going to hit OK, and that's going to I'm working out how much area it's got to fill. Then it's going to work out the pattern across the rest of the image, and it's going to try and match that, and when it's finished thinking it's figured it out, it will fill it in what the software itself sees as being the natural path to meet the two edges of that selection. Now, it doesn't always get it right. If you're trying to remove people out of a crowd but still make it look like there's a crowd there, it'll generally start duplicating people and you'll see quite a pattern appearing. But if you're using something nondescript like water, if you just get rid of the selection, you can see that it's done a pretty good job at putting it back in. In fact, if we put the boat back in, it looks pretty natural. Now, do you remember the point of this? We're going to look at perspective. So to do the perspective, we needed to put the water behind it, and then we can go into our perspective in our transform, and again hold down the control button or the Apple tool. Let's just bring the boat out or take it in. We can do just about, well, when I say we can do anything, we can do a few things. Drag it to the left and angle it up a little bit. We can angle it in. We can have it making it look like it comes out of the water if we really want to achieve that look. You've got the full control on that. So I'm going to try and make it look like it's going away from us. So if I just go in between those two by using Control Z or Apple Z, that's where we started, that's where we've ended up. I've actually made the boat look quite a bit smaller and made it look like it's moving to the top left of the screen. Maybe slightly more realistic than it did to start with, maybe not. You can find 100 uses for that tool. It's up to you to come up with that.